conversation with Ye, the legendary artist, producer, and designer formerly known as Kanye West. This, the Lex Fridman podcast.
It's literally, look at this, bro. Look at this. The Holocaust. It starts at the 25th minute and goes on for 1 hour and 14. What the are they going to talk about? Fashion, U.S. election, humor, media, and anti-Semitism, trusting people, accountability, legacy, advice for young people, regret. Holy he talked about the Holocaust for an hour. There is no shot that is productive.
The thing is, okay, you're going to ask me different questions, but I'm about growing and building and bringing the idea to life. So when I see you, I say, oh, this guy understands how to hire engineers. Where I'm coming from Hollywood, coming from press, coming from media, so many of the guys that have been like voices and faces and talking heads, whatever, have not understood how to engineer product. And that's the reason why I was able to jump past everyone in the entertainment field. That's why I love and respect engineers. That's the only thing that we really need to teach in school is engineering.
Bro, you're a musician. You literally work with creative people every day. What the are you saying? This is exactly like Steven Crowder, a drama student, constantly promoting STEM Lord shit and saying, people are getting gay-ass art degrees in school. You're fucking Steven Crowder, and you are Kanye West.
We don't need to teach history. We don't need to teach anything that is subjective. It needs to only be engineering taught in school, and everything else needs to be recessed. Any force subjective information is just to weaken and indoctrinate our species. And that's what schools do now.
As an engineer, I love hearing you say that, but to push back, history is not, the interpretation of history might be subjective, but history has some facts and they're useful to give a grounding to the way you do engineering.
I don't 100% believe in anything, any concept of the future or any concept of history, because history was just written by the victors.
Yeah, that's
so.
Right. Well, true. That is a moment. Now that we know they talked about the Holocaust for an hour.
These stuff happened on the day that later that day is reported wrong. So how wrong is something reported 1,000 years ago? And why would we argue about something that's not in the now?
Bro, for those of you who are saying like, oh, that's true though. It is true. Yeah, I know. Haven't you learned anything from conspiracy theorists at this point? They always say one fucking true thing, and then they use that as an anchor to say a fuckload of insane shit. That statement in and of itself is true. History is written by the victors.
Yeah, well, you try not to make the mistakes of the past. That's the usefulness of history, the limited usefulness of history.
The biggest mistake from the past that we keep making is looking at the past.
Giving too much value to the past.
Too much value to the past. We are now. We are now. We are here. We are one species. We are one race. It's time. And the leadership is changing because you have Elon as a leader, Ye as a leader, and we're the top leaders. We're more influential than the presidents.
So do you care about the stuff that's objective or subjective more? Because greatness to me is what matters. The bank account comes and goes. The impact on our society, like you said, social engineering, the impact on the collective intelligence of our species, that what permeates throughout the rest of the time.
I like what you said. The impact. I'm taking notes. What did you say? The impact
on the collective intelligence of our species.
Lex loves this because as a pseudo-intellectual, he loves when motherfuckers dumber than he is act like he is literally the most brilliant person on the planet. You know what I mean? This is probably his favorite interview. One, because he's a super famous person, obviously, and he's going to get a lot of clout off this, which, respect. I'm sorry, I'm going to hit you with a says you. Wait, what? No, I admit that. Also, there's a difference between me and like a lot of these guys. A lot of like the neo-intellectual dark web people often present themselves as infinitely more intelligent than they actually are. I regularly say I'm a fucking idiot. Like regularly and routinely, I mention that I am a dumbass. Okay, I'm a dumb person. I'm not smart.
When Ye is writing down the words that came out of my dumb mouth, I have made it in life.
Damn, he actually just called himself dumb. Not pre-watched. There you go.
There's a lot of people
I was wrong.
Kind of like
immediately rolled.
I wanted to wear.
I'm rolled. So
now what I'm promoting is you have the idea, you say it out loud, like if you had Tourette's. Say your truth out loud. If you hate Ye, you hate me, say that out loud. Say whatever you feel out loud, non-violently. Non-violent. I have to say that like as a shout out to Alex Jones. And Trump, where they try to say that when they say their truths out loud, that it's inciting violence. So let's be like really clear. I'm saying that
What?
they have criminalized free thought. They. I hate when people use they, like they gets the
What? Yo, he's hitting all the high notes.
blame for everything, right? It's always they.
Yeah.
Oh, who the fuck is they exactly?
Problem is they is us.
Yeah. Well, I love that. What we need to
Brilliant.
do is turn I to we, so we take the responsibility, and turn they to us.
I mean, he says they all the time when referencing, entire swaths of the population regularly. And some of the theys are actually, when he's talking about they controlling the media. So it's weird for him to be like, man, who the fuck is they? When he's doing the they all the time.
So we take accountability to us. I to we, and they to us.
Are you happy?
Absolutely. I'm just here. It's difficult to make me unhappy. Now I can deal with frustration, but when those frustrations are, it's like when you've allowed people to be in your life that shouldn't be there, and then they do the thing you knew they were going to do, and you're screaming at them, but you really need to scream at yourself.
Happiness. Dude, how are they going to go from happiness to the Holocaust, by the way? This is wild, dude. Look at this. There's like a brief 1 minute intermission between happiness and the Holocaust, which takes up an hour. Oh God, my heart's not going to be able to handle this.
Yeah, so you realize anything that's like anger or frustration, that's something that's wrong with you that needs to be dealt with.
Yes. Like right now, okay, say I got this pattern cutter that I wanted to remove because I felt like she was copying our patterns into the computer. And I didn't know why she wanted to do that. And I just wanted to do the patterns by hand.
You mean like automating the patterns? Is that what you mean?
It's a war of human beings and robots.
But that makes it more efficient, right? You don't like the efficiency. You like the creativity of the singular nature of the pattern.
I believe that
Ye hates robots. I'm not gonna put that out there. It's a joke.
Robots have feelings too.
But the pattern cutter, you don't like that. That had to be that's you can't have that part of your life.
That's not what everything that I'm doing is for the sake of the human race. There's things in capitalism, there's things in technology. Well, technology and original human species can exist in a peaceful way as long as the people that know how to make robots aren't using their robots to control the humans.
It definitely is something you have to be concerned.
He's like, come on, Lex, tell me what's going on. How are we getting to the Holocaust? Oh my God. Oh my God.
About as we become more technologically savvy. That, my friend, is why engineering isn't everything. That you have to desperately study the lessons of history. In Nazi Germany, science was used to create atrocities. Engineering, the same. Engineering could be a tool of war.
We're still in the Holocaust. A Jewish friend of mine said, go visit the Holocaust Museum. And my response was, let's visit our Holocaust Museum, Planned Parenthood.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I don't think Lex Fridman will allow this to happen. Like, look, he's a podcaster first, but there are certain things that I assume he is not going to allow to happen. I think he's going to push back on this.
With all due respect, I grew up in the Soviet Union. I'm Jewish. Parts of my family perished in the Holocaust of Nazi Germany. I have to push back that there is a difference of the atrocities at that scale, at that time.
Yeah, he's like, hold up, you're Jewish? No, I'm kidding.
On an entire people.
I was going to say the number, that's the difference.
It's not the number.
Because 6 million, well, also African Americans are actually Jew also, the lost tribe of
I can
Israel.
push back on that too.
Okay, so well,
there you go. See, I fucking told you. This is the difference between someone like him and someone like Candace Owens, who's like more invested in the right-wing ideological project. Candace Owens' money is tied to being a loyal soldier to the right-wing ideological project. Lex, on the other hand, is not as overtly or as far right as any of these other guys are. He is supposed to maintain this, center type perspective. He's too MIT to just like let this shit slide.
Everyone came from Africa.
I am African. I'm basically
Right.
African American. We're brothers.
And we're both Jew, and we're brothers. So
We're human.
6 million people died in the Holocaust, over 20 million
Okay, so he's trying to push away by being like, we're both brothers. When he says we're both Jew, he's like, well, I'm going to push back on that, but we're both brothers.
have died by the hands of abortion. And the media promotes the my body, my choice, which is actually still a promotion for Planned Parenthood. 50% of Black deaths a year is actually abortion. It's not the cop with the knee. It's not Black on Black violence and gang violence. It's not heart attacks. It's actually abortion. The most dangerous place for a Black person in America is in their mother's stomach.
900 to 1 million abortions in the United States a year. I hear you. But there's something about the rape, the torture, the murder of children, women, men, the complete humiliation and just the suffering that was endured during World War II.
That's what we deal with on our TVs right now with Black people. Soros would use Black trauma economy to win an election. What I love is having a healthy conversation. So, hey, China, hey, left agenda, hey, what we're going to do is say that our species can have a healthy conversation. Can
I just linger on this? Because when you say Jewish media, there's a echo of a pain that people feel that reminds
you're saying it's redundant, right?
No.
No, man. He's not saying that. What the fuck did he think was going to happen? He said, you think it's a redundancy.
No, I'm not saying it's redundant. I'm saying
it's redundant.
You're saying it's redundant.
It's a redundant
I'm saying it's something I'm saying that it's something that Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister of Nazi Germany, said. I'm saying it's been said so many times in order to murder and torture.
I think like Kanye was geared into thinking that like maybe by Elon or something that like this was going to be like a very positive interview or something. He's just not aware. I think like he's still at this stage unaware that Lex Fridman is pushing back on what he is saying. This is the first time that I think Kanye West is having like a genuinely contentious conversation. Like this is like genuine pushback, more than even what Piers Morgan was doing.
Sure. Jewish people that it just rings wrong.
And that's the
just
thing.
Like the N word when spoken by people that have the same skin color as me, it reminds people of a very dark time.
I know. If Jewish people would accept that I'm Jew, then they would see what I'm saying in a different way. They would hear it in a different way.
But see, the people, you saying you're Jewish,
No, I'm Jew, not Jewish. Jewish means like that of a Jew. I'm saying I'm Jew.
You're a Jew.
Blood of Christ.
That
Orthodox
comes from,
Christian.
Right. But are you a follower of the philosophy of the Black Hebrew Israelites? Because that's where the idea comes from. Not all of those folks are extremists, but some are extremists.
I'm a follower of the idea. I have a vague idea that all people came from Africa. But what I wanted to do, now I could Andy Kaufman this about 7 more minutes, and then tell you what it is.
Should I count? Let's count 7 minutes.
No,
do less.
I did this to do a spoiler alert.
Sure, spoiler.
What's the first thing I said at the beginning?
We're talking about engineering and humans. We're all
human.
I
said, and then what did I say we shouldn't focus on?
Race.
Not just that. I said they shouldn't teach this in school.
History.
The history, because what they do.
Oh, no. Remember when I spoiler alerted and said, oh, no, when he said history was written by the victors, and then there's an hour-long conversation about the Holocaust? Last week, when we watched one of the interviews, the first time we went into Drink Champs, I said, the one note that he has not hit yet is Holocaust denial, which he's like teetered on by, making references to it, which is like, pretty bad. Uh-oh.
What schools are doing is exactly what the CIA does with Pixar films and Disney films. They make Bambi's mom die in the beginning, right? And off that pain comes a purchase of ice cream, Off that pain comes, I need some more toys. Off that pain comes, I need a bigger house. Off that pain comes, I need more girls than my wife. Off that pain comes, so they put that pain in to make us, now we're the orphans of capitalism, to make us be consumers. And we need to be a community, not just consumers. So I could have went another 7 minutes by being a person who presents himself in a way that says, well, I don't have to feel your pain because I also have pain too that's not being recognized. And in every interview, when I say, well, why did I get to the point of putting up the tweet? No one wants to understand why I got to that point,
You
right?
had pain. You had pain.
Yeah, but
You
no
had
one,
pain in your heart.
but let's say this, undoubtedly, Jewish people have a lot of movies about that pain, and Black people have a lot of movies about the pain of slavery, right? It's almost impossible to find a movie about Mansa Musa. When you go to the African History Museum in Washington, D.C., it doesn't start with the idea of Africans being kings. It starts with the idea of Africans being slaves. But here's another.
Okay, this part is actually not wrong, even though what he's about, like the point that I assume he's going to launch off of is going to be weird. Part of what he's trying to say here is that, and I think it's pretty obvious. Like, there's a reason why Black Panther was seen as a massive success, and it had like a pretty solid cultural impact on people, even though it was a Marvel movie. There are rarely ever like Black stories that focus on Black success in general. Even if it focuses on Black success, it's not exclusive to Black success in a Black way. It's always Black people succeeding in a white world. So his take about Mansa Musa is not wrong. I'm trying to be as charitable as possible to what he's trying to say, which, by the way, he will inevitably ruin, and also, somehow tie back to fucking Jewish people or something.
Another interesting point about this. This was said to me one time, and it stuck with me as a family member of mine. With Africans, how many times you've heard like a rapper, talk about we were kings? That's incorrect. If we're Jew, and since we are, we weren't the kings. We were the slaves that Moses freed. Africans have always said, you've listened to rap music and hear Black people say, we kings, we blood of the.
Bro, what the fuck? Okay. He is somehow arrived at an anti-Black form of like Black Israelite theory, a theory that revolves around Black supremacy. What he's saying I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit trying to comprehend what he's trying to say.
Pharaohs. If we are Jew, then we weren't. We were the people that Moses freed. And when we talk about, have you heard Black people talk about 400 years of slavery? Mm-hmm. All right. That is and we're having this history lesson, right?
I thought history doesn't matter. You're exploring ancient history and drawing deep wisdom from it. And at the same time saying we need to forget all of it. We need to put that behind us.
Absolutely. We need to forget it and we need to move forward.
There's so much wisdom to draw from history, even the 20th century. Look at this, communism. Without the lessons of history of the 20th century, communism sounds like a great idea, except that some of the worst atrocities conducted by Stalin and Mao that killed 50, 100 plus million people, not just killed, tortured, starvation, where people, cannibalism, they ate each other. They ate their children. There's just dark people. People should read some books on this, on the Holocaust in the 1930s.
But I disagree.
With that lesson, we would, and now it's becoming more popular. Marxism and communism.
I'm not disagreeing that happened. I'm disagreeing that we need to harp on the things that happened, because the truth is, I'm giving a fact. 50% today of, let's say, you don't call Black people Jew, right? Black people's deaths today is abortion today, right now. Like that, it's not racism. That's too wide of a term. It's
Kanye West is doing Holocaust revisionism by comparing the Holocaust to like abortions, a consensual medical process. That is an insane comparison to make. Why the fuck is Lex Fridman being like, bro, you know what's really fucked up about what you're doing with this Holocaust revisionism? Communism and cannibalism that happened under communism, which led to 100 million deaths.
Genocide and population control that Black people are in today in America that is promoted by the music and the media that Black people make, that Jewish record labels get paid off of, or media companies. Record labels and media company also, so let's give it a wider.
You know, I agree with Martin Luther King. I have a dream too.
Martin Luther
That one
King
day
was
you would not be judged by the color of your skin or your race, Black or Jew, but by the content of your character. All the assholes that fucked you over in the music industry, fuck artists over in the music industry, are individuals. They're not Jews. Can you
they are Jewish.
It doesn't. They're human with opportunities, and they took those opportunities. I don't care if they're Jewish.
Do you feel like I should release that pain and separate it?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're saying I should release that pain and separate it, then I'm telling you, you should release your pain and separate it, and we could get to the list of how you are being with engineering opportunities.
That's 100%. I see what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. The pain, I'm going to let it go. Engineering challenges, I get it. One of the problems you highlight is people get fucked over in the music industry.
This isn't a real conversation. Neither of these two are actually speaking to each other. You can't convince me these two recognize who they're speaking to. I mean, I think Lex Fridman has conflicting interests in this conversation. On the one hand, he wants to push back on the obvious Holocaust revisionist takes. He wants more clarity on the anti-Semitism, maybe address it, maybe counter it. But on the other hand, he also wants to continue having a 2-hour-long podcast.
And get fucked over in the media, get fucked over all over the place.
They created, there was a
Oh, by the way, yeah, Megaphonics. The problem with Lex is he's a capitalist talking to a capitalist about what is clearly a problem with capitalists. So instead of bringing up capitalistic opportunity, he's trying to hedge it in some sort of no. It's not that they're Jews, bro. It's such a half-assed and easily dismissible critique. It just plays into Kanye's paranoia. The reality is you're correct on this, okay? Both Lex and Kanye love capitalism. When you both love capitalism and Kanye West is saying like, no, it's the bad capitalists that are doing this because they're Jewish, Lex can only counter and say, no, it's not the bad capitalists that are doing this because they're Jewish. It's just individuals individually choosing to be bad. Some people choose to be bad. Some people choose to be good. Exploitative capitalist practices are conducted by individuals. But the reality is those individuals on their face, if you were to look at them, would not be coming across as bad people. And I don't even think that they are bad people from the same way that we understand it. They're people who are still very much operating within the confines of the system that was presented to all of us as the norm and the best system possible. Like, yes, we regularly do ascribe morality to the effects of capitalism and the people who suffer under the capitalist organization of the economy. But ultimately, if everyone is operating on the same blank slate, and most people are, the overwhelming majority of people are looking at capitalism and saying, no, that's good, actually, they're not operating outside of the boundaries. They're not operating outside of the boundaries. They're not doing anything that's like overtly wrong as it pertains to the system, which is how you arrive at like weirdo anti-Semitic thoughts about this sort of thing to begin with. There needs to be another motivating principle behind why these guys are being so exploitative, because it's certainly not capitalism. Yeah, motherfucker, it is capitalism.
Jewish trainer that brought me to the hospital and put in press that I went to the hospital. I know friends that off of exhaustion, a Jewish doctor, they diagnosed
Why do you keep saying Jewish?
Because they were, right? Diagnosed me with bipolar disorder and shot me with medication and put me on medication, then put it in the press. And every time, even if I wore the wrong color hat that I was not supposed to wear, right? Then they immediately say he's off of his shit, he's off his meds, he's off his rocker, and it's literally used as a scarlet letter control mechanism for the people. Understand, the kids, the colleges, the high schools, what do you think they put me right now? They put me as the prophet, not the leader. It doesn't have to be the leader, right? Because
Holy fuck, bro. His mania goes crazy. He's saying the real racism is that a black person can't be you know, Donald Trump supporter, which is wild. And then he's saying that everyone is controlling, people are controlling me when I behave in a way that is inconsistent with what black people are supposed to behave, which is what he's claiming is, you know, they have to be Democrat or whatever. Then they blame it on his bipolar. They blame it on his mania. The unfortunate reality in this situation, though, is that if that's not the case, if it's not mania, what he refuses to recognize, I think, is that a lot of his defenders also use mania as a way to try and deflect away. That's the reason why they say, oh, it's just mania. That's why the larger analysis here is that it's not just bipolar disorder, it's not just his mania, but it's also his own personal belief system that has been rewritten at this point. I don't think he realizes that that's almost an out for him, though. Like, he's like, oh, no, people blame it on my mania. It's like, yeah, people who defend you also blame it on your mania because they're not upset that you're a black person wearing a red hat. They're upset that you're wearing the red hat. They're upset that you're defending right-wing conspiracies. He is so narcissistic that the only way for him to fucking process information is by how it impacts him personally. He doesn't think about like anti-Semitism as a larger concept. He doesn't think about like defending conspiracy theories or being this like unhinged right-wing psychopath as a concept. He only thinks about it as like, I said these words, which are true because I'm the prophet, and people responded to it in a negative way, and they didn't respond to it in a negative way because the words I said could have ever been like wrong, because everything I say is correct. They responded for some other reason, and that other reason must be the top of the hour ad break, because at the top of the hour, there's a 60-second ad break.
The leader, but at least, right, they put me as the prophet. They put me as the only person that would say this, and I'm just saying that was 4 Jewish members that controlled my voice because for the fact that 90% of black people in entertainment, from sports to music to...
It's just, I'm sorry, man. It's fucking crazy that he doesn't see that, like, this is exactly the same as anti-black racism, which he has also experienced in his life. Like, when you say, well, like, racist people don't just exclusively assume racist thoughts or have racist thoughts for no reason other than, you know, that's just what they learned. They oftentimes will try to rationalize it, like 1350. They try to rationalize over-policing black communities with the 1350 cyclical argument. They try to rationalize it by saying, Andrew Tate has even said something like this, where it's like, oh, well, if I've only been attacked by a black person, well, let's say not black, but purple. That's what he said, if you remember that fucking famous video. Then, of course, I'm going to be afraid of black people. Like, that's Andrew Tate's, you know, justification for racist anecdotes, racist points of view, having a racist point of view. Does he not realize that this is the exact same justification? Like, oh, well, you know, it's Jewish people that fuck me over in my immediate life, so I'm just going to keep mentioning that they're Jewish and keep saying that I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. You know, you're doing the same exact thing.
I feel that there's no accountability and no responsibility on Jewish people in media to at least start with owning up with the facts of what's dealt with and tell me, if I say the facts out loud, to the point of Ari Emanuel writing a letter in the Financial Times trying to take food out of my children's mouth, telling people that they're not allowed to work with me. Even Chris Como or Pierce Morgan getting me to apologize and separate Jewish business people from the families of the Jewish business.
I don't think he realized Pierce Morgan was like kind of doing him a favor a little bit. It's not Jewish businessmen. It's just businessmen. That is what capitalists do. And the exploitation that he experienced is real. The exploitation that a lot of people experience under capitalism is real. Okay? But he just can't. He can't just say it like that. Yeah, of course people are going to get mad at that because that is anti-Semitic.
People, which I did. Update. I did that. That already happened. And that
was a shitty apology. That wasn't really an apology. But shout
So
out to that conversation. Here's
I need
great
to get
conversation.
on my knees and kiss the dick of Howard Stern and
You don't need to kiss anyone's dick. I don't.
but that's what you guys are acting like.
You guys, look at that.
Because you're talking about it's a shitty opinion, apology, but where's our fucking apology?
Here's the thing I don't understand. Why doesn't anybody just say, brother, there is no like secret Jewish council meeting or some shit where they're like, where every Jewish person is like learning to behave a certain way. Their Judaism is not motivating them to act out in this way. It's their social conditioning under capitalism. That's precisely why you don't only see Jewish people exploiting you. You see fucking plenty of Anglo-Saxon Protestants exploit you as well. It's your anti-Semitism that makes you hyper-focus on Jewish people exploiting you, which is a subject for a different conversation. But like, that's the only reason why you're singling out Jewish people. And when you do, you're not even just talking about the people that are exploiting you. You're talking about Jews in general.
Go after individuals.
Okay,
Go
so
after individuals.
and
If you don't talk
and,
shit about me, talk shit about me. This is great.
and you know what that is?
Yeah, what's that? Engineering.
That's an engineer's approach.
Yeah, engineers. Yeah. Yeah. You should
What?
learn some of that.
We all can use.
No, man, he's trying to teach you how to like criticize people, not like a fucking anti-Semitic child, but like an adult. But he's trying to also do it while saving face for capitalism.
On my contracts, and no one can say this is ramped up. No one, Howard Stern can't say this is ramped up. Ari Emanuel can't say this is ramped up. George Soros knows damn well that I'm not ramped up. George Soros knows, like, wow, this guy.
Bro, he is so deranged, dude. Come on, Lex. You keep letting him say George Soros. What the fuck, dude? What are you doing? Because Kanye West is not media trained enough to fucking to hide his like underlying anti-Semitic thoughts, you get to peek into the George Soros conspiracies in a very honest way. Why the fuck would George Soros know anything about Kanye West contracts, man? It makes no sense. It's unhinged unless you are also motivated by the same exact fucking principles that he's operating off of.
And looking at how I control the world silently, and he's calling it out, and he's not using any of the fear tactics. I can't send his homeboys around him. I can't send his wife to him. This guy, that's what George Soros sees, right? When he's dealing with me.
Bro, okay, this is like not even manic at this point. This is just fucking paranoid.
Right. So what you guys are actually asking me to do, I'm comparing myself to that 18-year-old beautiful woman that had been mistreated by men for 4 years of her life, right? And you're saying, as a man, you can't blame all men. And I'm saying,
bro, he has to ask, come on, Lex, what the fuck? Ask him how George Soros is coming after him.
As a responsible, you can't blame all men. And I'm saying, as a responsible, forward philosopher leader, okay, I'll drop the pain and I will specify, because I'm up here, I lost my fucking family.
That analogy doesn't work. That analogy doesn't work because a woman that has been like raped by men, or a woman that has been a victim of sexual assault and sexual violence by men, hating all men or saying fuck all men or being afraid of all men, okay, is still coming at it from a place of being angry at the patriarchal construct that we exist under. There is no such similarities or established social constructs around Jewish control. That's the difference.
Family, I lost my kids. I lost my best friend in fashion. I lost the black community. I lost, people said I lost my mind, all of these things, lost my reputation. And I'm up here just like, I just want my family, but I don't want my family to have to say what the left wants us to say. To have to say what.
This is so sad, bro. You have children too. Like, he thinks like, again, super narcissistic, doesn't believe his actions are in any way wrong, thinks he's infallible. Therefore, it can't be my actions that have like pushed my family away from me. It can't be that I went on a fucking anti-Semitism podcast tour for the past week or past month almost now. That is the reason why companies are dropping me. It must be something else. It must be a Jewish conspiracy. It must be George Soros taking Kim Kardashian away from me.